build?
Well, apparently you can just build it on palisade walls. I don't know what it looks like, but I'm hoping that we get to see that today. Apparently. That's what State says, and I trust him. He's a pretty trustworthy guy. Anyway, speaking of trust, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get into a game that I trust will be an absolute cracker of a game. Welcome to Basin. We're here with Wam on the Mongols in the color red, and DeMuslim on the Chinese in the color blue. Lidakor, coming into this game, who's your favorite? Who do you think's more likely to win here?
I feel like Wam has played with a little bit more confidence in game number 1, but it was such a nail-biter, such a back-and-forth game that it's really difficult to judge. I think we're gonna have a clearer picture after like 5 or so minutes once we see the initial game plan for these players. Right now, if I would have to make a bet, I would probably go with Wam, but it's like a 52% over 48%.
It's pretty close. It's pretty close. Yeah, I like the fact that the Mongols are here for Wam, and it's just like, you know, it's one of his favorite civs. Both Puppy Paw and Wam, they play an incredible Mongols. So are we going to be seeing trade out here today? It seems likely. I mean, this is a pretty good map for trade, considering the position or the location of the trading post. It's all the way in the back corner. How close is it to the edge of the map, though? I think that's the big question, because if this bad boy isn't all the way tucked towards the edge of the map, I mean, it's still pretty decent trade, right? Like, we don't want to min-max everything. It's more about the strategy, not necessarily about the minutia. Yeah, I mean, so far, so good for DeMuslim as well.
Indeed. Now, looking at the start here for Wam, this is a rather underwhelming town center. It's not like he had a better option, but for all intents and purposes, the stone is exposed, the gold is very much exposed to the south, even the berries are, although that's not that important. Forests both very close to each other to the north of the TC. This is a very open base, and with a lot of exposed resources, definitely a bad spot for Wam to start the game from.
Yeah, definitely the case. And interestingly, doesn't go into any kind of early aggression. So I'm curious what he looks for, whether it is going to be that trade opening, whether he looks to play maybe a bit of a feudal age push or something to do with, you know, mass archers or something like that. Could be an option for him. But over on the other side of the map, it looks like DeMuslim going to be starting us off with an early Imperial Academy, 3 villages, tapping that one down as well. So pretty quick on that age up. 3 villages on the Imperial Academy is definitely considered quite a fast age up here.
It is. He's rushing feudal by a mile. Question is what the follow-up is going to look like. Now, this is a map which, well, as open as it is, as we do have a silver tree coming in here from Wam, it's actually a map where players often go greedy because it's so open in the middle that neither of the players are willing to risk moving out and potentially getting caught off guard. So oftentimes we just end up turtling and playing a very eco-focused game. And that's part of the reason why we're possibly seeing Wam opt to go for the silver tree rather than the deer stones. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah, almost going down right there. Very, very close, but Wam allowing the scout of DeMuslim to live another day. We'll check in with DeMuslim, though, and see exactly what he's up to. It doesn't look like Imperial officials are counting at the top. Yeah, they're definitely not. So he does have 1 Imperial official on the way. So we'll probably be looking for a fast Song Dynasty here. And then the question from there is, what's the follow-up? What does he look to do once he goes Song Dynasty? I suspect typically you're going to see like a 2 TC build coming out from him. But who knows? He could be thinking about going Castle Age as well. He's still got 3 villages over here. Actually, yeah, is this Castle Age potentially that we're looking at? Because he's gathered up more than enough resources for it, for the Song Dynasty.
Yeah, it's actually a tricky question. Now, I think a lot comes down to whether he has seen the silver tree or not. He walked past the TC, so he might have gotten a glimpse of that. And if he does, I don't think it's worth going for a second TC, because I think the return of investment, yeah, he sees it. So, knowing that there's a silver tree, you have to understand that the return of investment on the silver tree is much faster than it is for the second TC. So, I would not be surprised for the DeMuslim to go straight to Castle Age on Song Dynasty, maybe open a couple of Palace Guards, start picking up relics, and after that, maybe he opts for a second TC.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how he's going to play it, because he is going for Song Dynasty. He's also going for Wheelbarrow, so this is a very economic opening here. No sign of villagers moving out to Stone just yet. Quite a few villagers moving out to the Barbican, actually. 9 villagers Is this a sign of things to come? Could be moving them to the deer, could be moving them to the gold. That's a great spot for the Barbican, though. Honestly, this is a 10 out of 10 Barbican spot, so really well identified here by DeMuslim. Protects the gold, also protects the deer. Really nice. And it's at the front of the base.
It's a lovely spot. It's a very lovely spot. He's going heavy on the food department for the time being. He's likely going to pull an IO as well to boost that. And with that, he's going to have a great food income. We might actually see survival techniques come into play as well. That's something that's very commonly done when you have accessible hunt and when you want to go fast castle, because it just skyrockets your food eco so much.
Well, Khan over on this side of the map being a pretty big nuisance, and we begin to see walls coming up from DeMuslim. Take a look at this. On the north side of the map, walls coming in around this trading post. And the question is whether he's going to be going all the way around the trading post or whether he's just going to be minding his own business and just slowly walling off the map. That's the question that I'm going to be asking, because he's not thinking too much about that other side of the map, that's for sure. In fact, does he know anything about the trade that's happening on this side of the map? Can we take a look at his perspective?
He sees the silver tree, and he's going to wall off this corner. Now, he's fully walling it in, which means that this is just to deny this completely, and probably by the process of elimination, he knows where the second market is at. So, indirectly, he knows what's up. Question is what he can do to stop this, because he's only at 2 Chukanus for the time being, and on the opposing side, there are a couple of horsemen from Wam already.
All right, well, we'll have to wait and see exactly what the response is, but already Wam is looking pretty decent. How much of these traders for? Was it 140 gold? Which isn't too bad, 140 gold coming through. So they're sitting at about 1.2, 1.3 vils, and I guess they've got the extra resources as well, which is always fun.
That's really good value, and I think the big thing is that you can keep this up for quite a while, because DeMuslim doesn't really have the forces to stop you with. Now, I don't actually know what DeMuslim's plan is right now here. He's got an insane food income, but he's lacking gold to go to castle, so he needs to send way more villagers to gold if he wants to nail a good castlage timing here.
Yeah, that's very true. But remember that with the Chinese, ideally you want to be moving lots of villagers at a time, just because you've got the Imperial official. So it wouldn't be strange for him to just move 10 vils onto gold and then move a supervisor over there as well, and then just look to try and get that gold within the blink of an eye.
Yeah, tax is also a factor naturally, as DeMuslim now sees the traders working. On the other side, look at what Wam is up to. He's also getting survival techniques, so his food income is going to be great on the hunt. He's actually willing to risk moving all the way to the south for the deer deposit. But if he can keep control over that, plus he has the trade, that's actually a pretty lethal combo eco-wise.
Yeah, definitely the case. He's also moving out for his berry patch as well, so a big focus now on food. How many villages has he got back there on wood, though? It's sitting at 600 wood a minute at the moment. My suspicion is that he's drawn... Yeah, he's got quite a few vils up there. Take a look at that. So, yeah, 13 vils at the moment. And continuing to move out. Look at this expansion up towards the north.
Yeah, barracks now being added, and this is where it could get scary for Wam. We've seen in the previous game that he's willing to risk rushing an age compared to his opponent and leaving himself possibly exposed. And right now, DeMuslim, he feels like he wants to do something about this trade here in Feudal Age, because he's starting to mix in some spearmen for some aggression.
Yeah, I actually like this play a lot from DeMuslim. So when you play Chukunu Spear, it's kind of like you definitely feel like you're the immovable object. The problem is that people run away from you. When you're playing against trade, though, if you put your immovable object on their trade line, they've got no choice but to stop trading. And so that's why I think this is a pretty smart opening from him to move out like this. Your other option was to just go Castle Age and look to play for a heavy knight style. But obviously that's not the case that he's gone for here. Just focusing more on the feudal aggression. Big production coming out as well. Double barracks, double archery range. So he's going quite heavy on this feudal aggression. Just sticking with the 1 TC Chinese Song Dynasty style.
Exactly.
The unit numbers starting to build up for Wam. Spearman slowly. Yeah, I was about to say, Spearman really slowly getting into this battle. Needs to be careful, though. He's lost the first one. Second one going to get taken out shortly as well. He's looking to focus down all of these horsemen, but just having a bit of a troubled time here. Has he picked up +1 range attack yet? Not quite yet. On the other side, though, Wam going to be getting ranged armor shortly. Does a decent job in holding this off, though. Really impressive stuff that he's able to hold that with a Chukunu. But now I'm going to be able to camp on the production line, or on the trade line, and this is what makes it so difficult for Wam. How does he deal with this now?
Well, he's got 10 archers and a much easier time reinforcing these. That's the big thing. Only a handful of spearmen, they can be picked off by the archers as we speak, and then the horsemen can clean up the rest. And it's much easier to reinforce when he's right next to his own base, and this should be a cleanup here for Wam. This is the moment that he was waiting for. He already has the +1 attack on his archers as well, not something that the DeMuslim has just yet. And the DeMuslim forced to retreat, but there is not much space to retreat to. Just take a look. It's a wide open map in the middle, and this is why players are so hesitant moving out so commonly on this map.
Yeah, this is so... to me, it's absolutely wild. How many traders does Wam have at the moment? Can we just check in on that? So Wam at the moment, sitting on quite a few more villages than his opponent, on 9 more. Yeah, so 15 traders. How does Wam have 15 traders and a military this big? Like, the fact that it's so comparable to his opponents is wild to me. Really nice defense by Wam. All right, well, the horsemen moving across the map, looking to pick up reinforcements, find a couple of spears, obviously the wrong targets here. But now DeMuslim going to be camping himself nice and comfortably in this trade line once again. Archer numbers continue building up. Wam knows he just needs to survive from here. But look at the gold that he's got. 600 gold a minute. 1,000 gold in the bank. He's traded out a whole bunch. Catches a couple of traders.
Yep, he has gotten what he wanted. That's the big thing. At this point, he might actually be okay losing the traders. Obviously, he will try to keep them alive, and it looks like he will succeed in accomplishing that. Spearmen will get picked off, archers will have the cleanup, and he's going to possibly beat the Muslim to Castle Age, have a larger army, and have an intact trade still.
Yeah. Look at the defense that's coming through. Really solid defense here. Able to keep these numbers up, and keep in mind he's got the upgrades working with him as well. He's got +1 ranged armor. And we've got the melee armor coming through now, just to help him out a little bit against those spearmen. But the defense has been incredible. And from here, I suspect we're going to be seeing a castle age. Probably timing within the next 60 seconds.
Yeah, I think that's the right timing for it. He knows that the Muslim is on the run. Wam can just go straight Castle Age, start mixing in men-at-arms, make the opponent's life even more difficult, start picking up relics, and from that point on, it's going to be very challenging for the Muslim to do anything against it. Especially because once Wam gets to Castle Age, he could start dropping those Springo towers to protect his trade with, and then it's going to be very difficult for the Muslim to do any damage to those traders.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Keep in mind that the traders are going to get their speed boosted as well with the Yam network on all of those outposts. So the sooner you can do that, the better. But we do see the Uvu runs dry. Together with the gold, he's now got some more gold on the way through. Still posturing. Castle Age going to be dropping down at any second for both of these players now. The Muslim looking to get up as well.
And he goes for a step right out. Love that choice. Oh, he actually cancels. It goes for the Kurultai. Okay. This is an interesting
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We've got a Kurultai, ladies and gentlemen. So the reason I like the Kurultai in this situation is just simply because he's got his gold income handled. He's sitting on 1,200 gold a minute. He's got plenty of traders. He doesn't need any more gold. So I think he's covered. So the Kurultai just kind of makes sense because, well, I mean, realistically, like, this landmark could just give you 1 mangonel or 1 spearman, and it's still more than what the step redoubt gives you. Like, he just doesn't need gold from the gold mine. So you just basically take anything else. But we do see DeMuslim now going to be aging up. Immediately gets onto palace guards.
It's an interesting point you bring up with the Kurultai, by the way. It's actually a discussion I had with Killer Pigeon, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm also a big Kurultai enjoyer, especially the newly buffed Kurultai with the trade. But one thing we have to consider is that if the trade ever gets shut down, you won't have the step redoubt to fall back upon. So it's gonna be an interesting decision to follow up for the next few minutes. For now, seems like the right one, especially with this fight being as good as it is.
Yeah, definitely the case. Kurultai about to come through. There it is. Castle Age now. And look at the upgrades coming in for DeMuslim. He's looking to pick up the veterancy on the Chukunu. Supervision. It looks like it is getting supervised out now, which means it's going to be very quick. He's got a timing window here that he could look to attack on as well. Takes out the sheep, you monster.
Oh yeah, now Palace Guards coming in here en masse though, and the Vam just now starting to add a little crossbow group. This could be a weakness that's exploited by the Muslim now. He's already got 8 Palace Guards out there. And don't forget, he needs to keep that trade alive. Love the defensive towers in here. He's also gonna have vision over this army, whereas for the Muslim, he's wandering into the darkness, could easily get pins from the northern side. Uh-oh, this could be terrible.
Yeah, he's got no clue at the moment where anything is. First nest of bees finally in queue, but he's got plenty of Palace Guards already out here on the field. Takes down the villager.
He's got no idea where he's going. It's completely blind in that forest. Could easily be punished, but even worse than that.
There was an opening.
It's a disaster.
Yeah, this is huge. The Khan sort of tips off the enemy that, hey, you're under attack over here before the horsemen get through, but we've got a counterattack on the other side of the map as well. We'll check in, see how they're doing, and look at this. Chukunu coming in. They've got their upgrades. So much damage coming out right now for these guys. Only +1 ranged attack, but it's not going to matter. Still so much damage. You should be able to clean this up. At the same time, the Palace Guards are going to be able to tank up the damage. We're going to see almost all of the traders, at least for the moment, get cleaned up, but hold on a minute. There's a lot of Lancers here. No Spearmen to protect them, and good game gets called. It's going to be Wam victorious 2-0 with a Mongol victory against the Chinese.
It really comes down to that feudal age defense. Wam was always able to hold off the aggression from the Muslim, and the Muslim knew fully well that he can't just go for a 2TC boom over here because the trade is going to be so much more effective. He tried to aggress in feudal, but then again it was difficult. It's a long walking distance to the other side of the map, and the numbers advantage on the battlefield was always there for Wam. Always kept his trade going, and then there was just no hope for the Muslim to threaten that. Obviously, the Muslim had his own food eco shut down by the counterattack, that hole being there. But the big thing is that the fact that he's taking a direct fight with Chukunu against those veteran archers under the Korotai, supported by the Lancers of Wam, just tells you how desperate that fight was for the Muslim, how desperate he was to shut down the trade.
Yeah. I think that it's one of those things where he looked to go for a Song Dynasty and the Chukunu push. It felt like it came just a few minutes too late. I think there were a couple of other options open to him, but I like the way that he played it with the whole concept of the immovable object. It was just unfortunate that Wam's response just seemed so significant when it came in. I didn't expect there to be that many units, considering how many traders he had. He had 15 traders and was just defending with a mass much larger than what DeMuslim had. It was crazy how many units